what I want to talk about today, at least for the next, 20 something minutes or so, Fuzzy, is the opening night live. Now, again, we know a lot that's happening, but again, I'm going to read you the exact tweet from Jeff Keighley. He says, Tuesday, we are live in Germany for Gamescom opening night live, a 2-hour showcase of what's next for video games with gameplay reveals, new game announcements, plus more. Here's the hype promo that I edited, which actually was pretty good. And it is, of course, a video that he put together. And he just tweeted this on the 18th, which, of course, was yesterday. And it's actually a pretty good video. So good work, Jeff, on that. Let's talk about it. I mean, look, Xbox is going to be there, and they're gonna have coverage all 3 days. They have a bunch of games. And obviously, we'll continue to talk about that as the week progresses. But I want to specifically talk about opening night live. And the reason why I want to focus on this is because, unfortunately, this is the first show since Summer Games Fest. Now, Summer Games Fest, out of all the shows, was probably reviewed the worst. I was there in person. I will say I enjoyed myself. I was very taken aback by the Lego Horizon announcement for, not that it existed, that it was releasing on Switch day and date. I was expecting an Xbox announcement there as well. That's going to be coming later in 2025. I believe it's one of the first games they're going to start off with, and then you're going to see an onslaught of many PlayStation games coming to Xbox. But that particular show, the Summer Games Fest, you could tell that Jeff wasn't in his best Jeff, if you will. When he was on stage and he was presenting, well, he was Jeff Keighley. We saw a very disappointed looking Jeff when he would walk off stage to the side. I was there, folks. I was there. I could tell you. And I don't know if it was because it wasn't one of his better shows. Obviously, look, I say this all the time, and I'm not blowing smoke up anybody's, you know what. Jeff Keighley, for me, puts on an incredible end of the year show known as the Game Awards. I know a lot of people give him, crap for it. They don't like him. They don't like the way he does business. I've said it. I give Jeff the business all the time. Sometimes I don't like the way he conducts himself as someone that is supposed to be a diplomat to gaming. You can have your preferences. Like I have my preferences with Xbox, but I don't go out of my way to dump on everyone else in a way that's would be disingenuous. If Sony makes a mistake, I let them know about themselves. Same way when Xbox makes a mistake, I get out in front and I let them know about it as well. This particular show, though, I'm kind of wondering if it's a reactive show based on how a lot of people didn't like Summer Games Fest. Is he throwing everything in the kitchen sink into this? And what are going to be the surprises? Because if there's anything that we can walk away with and all agree on, maybe you don't like Jeff, maybe you don't like the Game Awards, but we can admit that he does usually have some pretty big games, especially when it comes to the world premieres.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this, man. Again, the new game announcements, we don't know what those are going to be. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, same here. Like, I know a couple of games that are now starting to pop up on social media again, like Arc Raiders, the same ones that made that other game where it's like I forget what it is now, but it was like a gold rush kind of game, like a battle royale gold rush where you collected coins and would drop things through the floor and it would have the destruction and stuff like that. Well, Arc Raiders being almost like Alien Division, that I'm really looking forward to seeing again. But as far as something new, there are so many studios that have been cooking on stuff that is, whether it's UE5 engine or their own proprietary engine. I know that there's going to be some eye candy like face melting games that are going to probably make their appearance for the first time. I know we're still kind of waiting on, I think it's called Crimson Desert, which is made by the same studio that did, I think it's Black Desert or something along those lines. So their latest game hopefully gets a release date at this point, makes another appearance on a Keighley stage. But I just can't imagine what other things, unless Sega's ready to make showing or show some of their
Oh
wares as far as
yeah.
the super game, where it winds up being like a lot of their classics but reimagined or updated to like today's graphics and controls and things like that. So like Crazy Taxi is definitely on the table. I think Golden Axe was another one that was on the table. And I remember hearing somewhere that there was like a virtual fighter still in the works. Like it wasn't this Evo, it was last Evo when they said it. So maybe we finally get to see something at this point.
Interesting.
But man, and in his like sizzle reel that he has with that post, there's a lot of Indiana Jones and a lot of other Xbox first party games that
Yep.
make multiple appearances in that. So it's I get the feeling it's definitely going to be Xbox heavy. Well, Gamescom is going to be Xbox heavy because they're definitely showing up in a big way this turnaround. But I can't imagine what else there could be out there. Like I still want to see, I guess, one of the games from the guy that used to work on Grand Theft Auto, Benzies. He started his own studio called Build a Rocket Boy or something like that, and he was working on a game called, I think, Everywhere or Everspace. Well, not Everspace, but I think it was called Everywhere. But he had like two versions. One was like Fortnite like, where you can make whatever game in that world that you wanted, and then another one was almost like a cop cyberpunk type realistic graphics looking game, where I don't know if that was inside the other game or if the other game was inside of that one, or if it was just a separate title that they were working on and didn't have like a working title for it. They had the same main character as Mafia 3 for, I guess, the lead in that trailer, but I'm wondering if that one's ready to make another appearance, because it's been in the works probably almost as long as Grand Theft Auto 6 has.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that makes an appearance. But there's so many other games out there. Like I don't know if the people over at Starship Citizen, or not Starship but Star Citizen, are ready to show their single player for the masses. I know it's been kind of like beta tested for a bit now, but I think it should be getting close to ready, even though that game has been in like development for like 12 or 14 years or something like that now. But it would be nice to I forget, it's like something Wing 44 or something like that. I forget what they called it, but I would love to see if that's close to the finish line and show, what, a PC centric MMO space game would look like. So that way, when Bethesda decides to have their online team do something like that with Starfield, they'll know what target to shoot for. Because I love Starfield. I'm looking forward to them eventually doing a multiplayer version of that same world or same engine and everything. But yeah, the opening night, really looking forward to Black Ops 6, because I'm pretty sure they're going to bring the extra heat that whatever you didn't see in cutscenes from the leaks, you'll probably see something that's definitely worthy of checking out opening night and stuff like that. But yeah, it's going to be exciting. I hope he makes up for the poorer showing that he had with Summer Games Fest. I'm hoping he's learned from the feedback and has taken the criticism, not personal, but taking the
Right.
criticism to improve what he was already doing. And in all honesty, with the exception of that showcase, I think he's improved each year with every, iteration of, like, whether it's the Game Awards or the showcases. So hopefully he can bounce back and, you know, uh, not necessarily that he'll rival Tina Amini with the Xbox showcase or anything like that, but at least be in the same ballpark or in the same league, or at least try to be at that point. Because I was it Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I think it's going to be June part 2 all over again. But yeah, opening night, he's definitely going to bring a better show than he did for the Summer Games Fest. At least that's what I feel.
I mean, I do have the actual listing. This is Jeff posted this the other day, so directly from his Twitter account. He says games confirmed for Gamescom opening night live appearances on Tuesday's show include Fuzzy, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Monster Hunter Wilds, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, Little Nightmares 3, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Batman Arkham Shadow, which I'm very excited for, because I'm getting that for VR. Of course, that is a VR game, and I'm going to get it for the Meta Quest 3. Dune Awakening, Marvel Rivals. I don't know if this is going to be the Xbox version or not, but I hope that they show what the console versions are going to look like. Squid Game Unleashed, which is interesting. A new game from Tarsier Studios, which I don't know who they are, but again, it's a new game, so yes, please. Sid Meier's Civilization 7. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which a lot of people are very excited for. Lost Records Bloom and Rage, which I'm not sure what that is, plus more. I think Lost Records is a RPG, if I'm not mistaken. He also goes on to finish off by saying there will be many new game announcements, surprises, and special guests. But where I want to take this conversation is in June, Xbox had an event that is unrivaled by any before it. You may come up with something that in your opinion, not you, but as a general opinion for the people in the chat, that you think is as good as the June show for Xbox. And that's awesome. If you feel that there's been a show that's as comparable to what we saw, I would push back on you and say, based on not being a bot, ladies and gentlemen, being a human that saw with his own eyes, ass and seat, saw what was happening, can honestly say that it was probably the best video game show of first party we've ever seen from anybody. I mean, from literally anyone in the industry. This show was a 10 out of 10. I'd even dare say a 12 out of 10. But we did hear that they did pull a few things. Now, Towerborn has been confirmed to being there. Now, not going to be on Jeff's show. But that's something we haven't seen, a full version or vision of. But at Jeff's show, do you think Xbox has something up its sleeve that we haven't seen that was one of those games that, quote unquote, taken off of what was a 3-hour show down to a 2-hour show? I believe one or two of those games are going to show up at the end of the year for, of course, the Game Awards. But the question is, could we see something like a Clockwork Revolution show up at this show? Any thoughts to that?
There's two games I'm thinking have that potential, and I'm torn on which one would be saved for the video game awards later in the year. But one of the things that comes to mind, because Kojima's already tweeted about like Death Stranding 2, and I still believe that OD is going to come out sooner than Death Stranding 2, because it was something that was already being worked on under, not Luna,
Stadia.
what was the other one? But for Stadia. So yeah. I think that one's a little bit closer to the finish line, at least for the initial release, because I think it's going to be episodic, where the first one might just be him and Keenan doing like a couple of stories in the first one, and then there'll be other directors aiding him in the stories for the future releases or chapters or however they break it up. But I think OD definitely stands a chance of making that appearance, and it would make sense considering it's one of Keely's friends type of deal to make an appearance there. Another one, and I have to give a shout out to Pong Soul on this one. There's Bethesda Online has been working on something for a while, whether it's a license IP, which some people have rumored behind the scenes, maybe it's Star Wars related or something to that effect. Others have also, brought up the idea that it may actually be an online or multiplayer version of Starfield. I think either one of those, which could have possibly have been ready for the June showcase, could have gotten pushed to now. Although OD, I think they made some sort of reference during that week about it, and had it where Kojima made some additional photos of some of the directors he's working with and stuff. But I think one of these makes an appearance in Gamescom, and then whatever one does, the other one makes the appearance at the VGA type of deal. So
interesting.
I hope it's one of those, because like I've said, I would love a multiplayer Starfield. Love the game as it is currently, but a multiplayer one would be even more bonkers at that point. OD just has that real Silent Hill and PT feel to it as far as some of the things we've seen so far. And I think he's going to make the Silent Hill that he wanted to make without calling it Silent Hill.
Interesting.
So seeing that, I think would be another big one. But yeah, either one of those. I know that there are plenty other games that may have gotten bumped, like things like what do you call it? Contraband. That's another
Yes.
one where it's like it got pushed. And I'm pretty sure they want to have that be shown in its best light. Like the first trailer being CGI, they gotta. I know that they're going to want to make it shown or show that it's as good, if not better, graphically than what the CGI was, and that it's closer to the finish line. So that way, it's like, hey, within the next 12 months or so, you'll probably see that game on your console, type of thing. But there's a ton of games that Xbox could kind of steal the show at the end. I mean, remember how Blade did that for VGAs?
Yeah.
I think they have more Disney and Marvel and Star Wars related IP stuff that they're working in the background that we'll eventually find out about, because there are some things being talked about as far as even bringing back or renewing IPs for things like Deadpool and stuff. So yeah, there's definitely going to be something interesting in that regard. I think there will be a gem that maybe overshadows the rest of the other show, but we'll see. But I have a feeling it's going to be something Xbox related, nonetheless.